Do you want to know something really funny? I asked Cameron to get us both waters, and she only got that Caitlin a water.
Oh, that's funny.
I actually think so.
Do you need water before we start?
I just thought it was funny.
Okay.
Ooh. Welcome back, everyone, to the Special Event Rentals podcast. I'm very excited to introduce our next guest for this episode. We have Caitlin McElhone with CM Events. Welcome, Caitlin.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I am so interested to dive in everything CM Events, Caitlin McElhone, and kind of our event industry today. So I'm just going to dive right in, if you don't mind.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Caitlin, I want you to start off with telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into events. How did CM become such a staple in Edmonton?
That's very kind of you to say.
Absolutely, it is.
Well, believe it or not, I finally did the math on this because my website, I guess, has been wrong for a long time. We've been around over 18 years now.
18.
That's how long I have been doing full-time event management in Edmonton. CM Events is now 12 years old, which is blowing my mind as I say it right now.
Yeah, it's blowing mine. Yeah. I feel like I've known you since I came to Edmonton.
Yes.
So I feel like it makes sense, but that's crazy. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, it does feel like a huge milestone, and also that I'm like a veteran now or something, whatever we call people who've been around for a long
Staples.
time. So I had the immense privilege of working with a event management firm in Edmonton right after I graduated university. So I had all these hopes of being a designer in New York and going to do all sorts of things, and none of those practicums worked out. So she happened to be looking for a wedding assistant for that summer. I had never even been to a wedding before.
Right.
And I was like, sure, let's try that out. And so we did weddings together for 2 straight months, and it was a total whirlwind. And I happened to be naturally kind of good at it. And after I graduated, was hired full time. We did corporate events together for 6 years all across Canada. We did 2 Olympics together. It was such a ride. And loved working with her and in the office and with a team. It was.
Can we know who this is?
It was the best. This was with Comlinks Events with Lisa, who's still around and is still wonderful and all the things.
Yes.
Yep. And so she really taught me just everything that I know today, the value of supplier relationships, how to produce those just largely complicated galas and fundraisers, and how to take care of your sponsors, and just all of these things. I learned first time working with her for so long, which was amazing. So
So you had a good mentor.
Very good mentor. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. And so really only started my own business out of a need to create some flexibility. We were starting to think about having a family and really needing to figure out, could I still be traveling all across the country or internationally? And really wanting to really work with clients who valued people on site, who didn't just show up and yell at volunteers or demand that your stage be moved by half a foot an hour before the doors opened, or some of these things that we were experiencing with some clients that I wasn't okay with. Right. And I couldn't really identify it at the time, but it was really just like, it was really pushing my integrity levels. And once I identified that, I was like, I know what I need to do. And unfortunately that meant leaving. Yeah. But it also meant being able to start CM Events, which has been its own journey and its own ride, and it's been incredible. Yeah. And we now specialize in fundraiser galas, corporate events, conferences, and long service awards. That's what we do. That's it.
It's so crazy. And I just want you to know, anytime I'm on site with you, like SCR is on site for you, you do take care of your team.
Thank you.
And I'm not even just speaking for SCR. I'm speaking for AV. I'm speaking for everyone. You always have food on site. You're never, I'm just saying what you wanted for your brand is absolutely what everyone thinks of CM Events.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's so kind. Yeah. We really wanted to put people first and to create a company that could do that in one of the most stressful, industries, often very stressful on site with so many moving parts. It's just so important. It was so important to us to be able to put people first while we execute these events.
And I think putting people first always gets lost. It's easy to say that. I've not been the kindest to people on site because of that stress level.
100%.
Everyone's coming at you as a planner. You have all the answers, especially if you're creative type and maybe not a type A type.
Yeah.
Everything's up here and you know everything, but nothing's on paper. And then you have just the type A, where everything's on paper, but it's almost stressful to communicate that because it's on paper. So I feel like you're a good balance between the two.
Thank you. Yeah. It's not easy all the time, but after 18 years, you now learn a few tricks, and it's just, as ever, all those mass communications are coming at you, questions, deliveries, all the things, changes, updates, the client.
What's a little tip on site you could give us that is like, I guess, how would you navigate a sticky situation when you're already stressed and upset and you just want to like throw everything up in the air?
Yeah.
What do you do in those moments to just act kind and put people first?
Well, so this sounds ridiculous, but I try to take some deep breaths because it does every once in a while. Like I feel like losing it too. Of course, you can't, it's human nature to not, it's hard to handle everything that comes at you. But I have gotten really good over the years of just smile. That's it. I don't care what has come at me, what you said is an emergency, what might be a problem or a change. If I can smile through it all, if you come to me and say, we've got a problem, if I react to that, the problem gets bigger. So I have learned if someone comes up to me and says, we have a problem, great. Can you tell me about that? Let's figure this out. And then all of a sudden it just brings everybody down. And that has been an immensely helpful trick over the years. And to also just remind my own self, like, this is a short period of time. It's going to be really stressful with communication for these 4 hours. And then it's going to start to level out. And so I find if planners, those that have become really good at being flexible and adaptable and accommodating to changes, have a way easier time keeping those relationships at bay, keeping people happy, keeping relationships strong. Because it's not about trying to execute the plan we had on paper before the event. It's about trying to execute what's possible in the moment. And we can only do that if we're trying to work together and we're adapting. And it's not always perfect, but it's possible if I can be flexible.
It's crazy to hear you say, for me, that it's not trying to execute what's on paper.
Yeah.
Because for events, everything's on paper until go time.
For sure.
That is crazy. And I feel like when you said that, I almost got chills because you are right.
Yeah.
You can't make everything happen. Things go awry. Like everything is just happening all at once.
Yeah.
So I think that's great advice. I feel like I just took that and I'm going to keep that in my pocket. That is like crazy because that is the mentality.
Yeah.
Every planner has their book or their like binder or whatever, and we want to do according to plan.
Of course. And I mean, the goal is to not make it.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The goal is to be adaptable. And when people have commented this to me before, I always kind of say the same thing, which is like, this sounds completely crazy. And I've learned it from working with Lisa so many years, but no small children are dying in this moment. Like there are, like, yes, it's stressful. And yes, what we're doing is important, but it can be flexible and it can be adaptable. And it's not going to send the whole event. Guests won't even know.
Right.
Like, so these are the things that I keep in mind. And also, I always tell clients, if we've done the heavy lifting beforehand, day of should be the fun part. That's what we've been waiting for, to actually put this thing together. And if that heavy lifting has been done and the communication has been done properly and the logistics have been handled, then on site is more or less like fairly easy going if I can be flexible too. Yeah.
Do you think that the relationships that you have created within Edmonton, vendors and clients, I feel like just speaking to you, they appreciate that. It's almost now like a team.
For sure.
You can kind of rely on each other just by putting them first.
Totally. 100%.
Full, like on all lines, on all front lines.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's not about trying to take the easy way out all the time, but it is about aligning expectations. So sometimes events can be more flexible than others. Sometimes you have a really high profile event with a really high profile client, and you have to communicate that to all your suppliers so they understand expectations might need to be here instead of over here.
Totally.
Yeah.
Do you think that in our industry, when you approach people with kindness, you get more of a collaborative outcome or a better result than, I don't know, coming in hot?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. It's, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how to do business any other way. This has just been our model, since we've opened CM events. And I do find people are way more willing to be flexible if they understand the parameters and they feel like they're a part of the team. I've heard this from florists so many times, like how much they appreciate a little bit of freedom, a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of autonomy to be able to do their jobs and what they specialize in within like the parameters that we need to for the event, but without someone dictating to them what needs to happen. And to me, the suppliers that we work with are all experts in one way or another in their own areas. And I need to rely on that expertise. I'm really just the logistics master that brings it all together to make sure that we don't have everyone at the loading dock at the same time.
And you're managing everyone's expectations prior to and communication. Crazy. What is the most, I guess, when you're putting on events, what is the most stressful time during that? Is it the lead up? Is it the couple days before when all the odds and ends need to be tied up? We're crossing our T's, dotting our I's. Is it during rehearsals? Is it decor setup? Is it the aftermath? What is the most stressful part for you of these large events?
That's interesting. Well, I'm not going to say decor because your team's amazing.
You obviously got that, everyone? I just winked at the camera. Infomercial.
Do you know what? I always have 3 to 4 days before any large event, big conference, a big gala, a big award ceremony, blocked on my calendar, no meetings, no other work for any other project, because I know, like clockwork, magically around that 3 to 4 day mark, you're going to have like a half a dozen things that need to pivot. And I don't know why the universe does that to planners, why all of a sudden like something doesn't arrive in time, or you have an extra 30 guests you have to seat, or the printer is delayed, or whatever.
Because we're miracle workers. That's why.
But it's like clockwork. And so I always just now have these a couple of days blocked to just know that these are troubleshooting days. I like mentally prep for that so that you can kind of just wake up and be like, everything might go wrong today, but that's okay because it's 3 days before the event and we're going to handle it now.
3 days, guys, 3 days before the event. But I feel like that's when everyone has the same, I guess, as one of your vendors. That's when we start paying attention to your, not that we don't pay attention during the booking time, but there's 2 times we really pay attention is the time of booking.
Definitely.
And when it's going out. In between, we have email communications back and forth.
Absolutely.
But 3 days prior, it's like, hey, are we locked into the loading dock? When is lighting going to be there? So I feel like, I love what you said, like just kind of dedicating your time to that.
Absolutely. So for me, I find you cannot call suppliers enough during that week of the event, especially say 72 hours out of a big event. Like, let's just, even if you feel like everything's confirmed and good to go, I'm going to call you again. Like, let's just talk through this loading dock situation. Let's just like let's
get on the same page.
How everyone's got to work together, or we need this down first and then this, because I find there's a lot going on for suppliers too. You're not just working on my event. You have potentially dozens or 100 events going on at the same time. And it's really important that those details get recommunicated and reconfirmed again and again.
And again, I feel like, but also it takes off your plate on the day of when things are really, when we really need to like troubleshoot. It's the things that you can control are all confirmed, squared away. I feel like sometimes that though, that goes, even if you confirm with vendors, sometimes things do happen. Like,
of course,
we are at the loading dock late. We are at the loading dock at the same time as lighting. How did that happen?
For sure.
And I feel like approaching that with kindness, like your approach, I think just makes it all the better. Has there ever been a time where you've lost your cool?
I don't know, actually.
Tell us where, when, and at who. No, just kidding. I've never seen it.
Well, that's good.
I've never seen it.
Maybe just on the inside.
Maybe. Even that, you've held pretty good. You've held really, really good. When we were organizing this podcast, you had mentioned the burnout of our industry. And kind of maybe speaking to your story last year. And I didn't even know this about you, that you did have a burnout and that it was, a big deal. And it's probably why things are happening this year that you've never done before.
That's right.
So I don't even know where to dive in.
Sure.
I kind of want to give you the floor of just maybe your experience last year, because I mean, for us coming out of COVID, last year was maybe the year that felt a little bit more normal.
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel like that is almost scary in itself, because if I remember pre-COVID, we were just getting more and more and more. And now I feel like we're back at that right now.
Yes.
We're at the point where people want everything.
Yes, the demand. I have not seen demand for in-person events like this in 5 years. Like,
it's
this is
crazy.
It's amazing.
And the budgets.
Yes.
And just the I think scope of work and the creativity and the custom pieces are just getting more. And for every event, I'm not even just talking big events like you do. I'm talking about backyard barbecues.
Yes. Yeah.
We're flying in singers, or people are flying in singers, or, there's like real live music. Like, it's just, there's so many things that are happening that I think last year was just the starting point of it. And so I think it's just going to get more and more.
I agree. Well, and people have been still pushing off, especially those more social celebrations, right? And now as these milestones come up, whether it's, a birthday or a wedding anniversary or a corporate anniversary, they're going all in because you realize how important it is to bring people together, how that makes people feel. Mm-hmm. It's the best part of our job, is really seeing that all come together, see how happy everyone is on site, how much fun they're having. It's the most special. I will never get tired of watching guests enjoy a cocktail reception, or how in awe they can be of a room set up. It's so special. Yeah,
I agree. Anytime anyone walks into a room with our decor, or is walking down the aisle, or I'm on site with you, and people just walk in, even like mid setup, and they're like, oh my goodness. And I just feel like it's just, I don't know, for us or for you as a planner, I could see that just being a lot of appreciation unsaid, like that. You just soak that in.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
That's
it's very
crazy.
special.
Yeah.
Burnout. I'm happy to more or less be an open book about this. And I think just in general, we've always known our industry is stressful. This is not new news. I've been doing this a long time. This is not my first round with burnout. But I think where I'm starting to have maybe a little more grace for myself, and I think others in this industry, whether you're a planner or a supplier, a hotelier, whatever your role is, to have some reflective grace on what the last 5 years have been, because it hasn't been a very long period of time. And within that 5 years, we were closed for over 2.5. And then we've really, like you said, last year was the first year really fully, truly back in all of its glory.
Back to where we left off. I feel like we just picked up where we left off almost.
Which was incredible. Yeah. And what happened for us that we've never experienced at CM events before, and it's really just me and a whole bunch of incredible suppliers and a bunch of amazing on-site staff, was we produced 18 signature events, galas, conferences, long service awards within a 7-month period. And 2 of those months were summer, where we don't produce events. And that wasn't okay. Why I said yes to all those contracts, I'll never fully understand. But what was unique in that situation, what led us to that is, playoffs. I think for the first time ever, we started to remember how crazy this town gets over Oilers playoff hockey. And we had numerous clients, big clients, move from the spring to the fall, which meant that all of a sudden we were overlapping dates with other things, or doing back-to-back Friday, Saturdays, which we would normally not do, but we were trying to accommodate the fear of what happens if there is a playoff game and we have a gala. Right. What does that mean?
And do you have to incorporate it?
It's something to consider for sure. And so that was one. And then also, just speaking about the demand of our industry, we had lots of, annual clients that came to us and were all of a sudden in addition to this conference you do for us every year, we also want to do a second conference. We also want to do a gala. And so that was challenging to navigate, is multiple large scale signature events within one organization that we're already working with. And of course we want to be there for those clients. And we naturally are like, sure, we can totally handle that. And I'm very proud of like all of the suppliers, like the demand that we place, just my one company, on the industry in terms of audiovisual and hotel space, and even like yourself here, like how hard your team worked back to back for these big events is really incredible when I look back at it. But I'm really tired. Yeah. And so we did have to make a change this year. I think it's so important. For the first time ever in 18 years, I actually listened to my body and was like, okay, you're not 25 anymore. Your body is trying to tell you something. Yeah. What happened last year was not okay. It's not okay to not sleep. It's not okay to work till midnight or 1 a.m. every day, 7 days a week. And it's not okay to continuously be the one in your family that has to miss all the things. And so this year I'm just realigning some things. Yeah. Really trying to check in with myself a little bit more, really evaluating the work that we do for clients. It's not like we want to do less for clients, but really evaluating like, what is your event? You know, what does it need to be executed? And these are the hours that we're going to do that in. Right. And so really trying to cut back on all of the extra bonus work that we were doing for clients that goes unseen or maybe wasn't necessarily necessary, and just trying to work better.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I have 2 questions. Well, I guess they're not really questions or statements. I'm going to go back to the very beginning of that and you saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
And you don't know how you got there.
Totally.
I feel like you're good at what you do. So I feel like it's a compliment when people ask you to do things. And that's like I feel like too, it's hard to say no.
Very. It's especially if you're a natural people pleaser. I am, for sure.
we're like, I feel like this industry, we're almost not servants, but we are servers. We like to serve people and we like to make 100%. People happy. Yeah. So I feel like that got caught up in it. And then the body was your body was your first signal of.
It was.
Like, hey, slow down, Caitlin. Yeah. Like,
it is immensely scary and interesting what stress can do to your body. And totally. I think what I've seen now that I'm slightly more rested and slightly more balanced, not a perfect system, but is a lot of those things I was experiencing last year just with health that I'd never seen before are now going away naturally on their own because your body is re-regulating and it's telling you that things are better now.
It's like, good job.
Yeah,
good
exactly.
job, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is crazy because I feel like burnout, a lot of people, I feel like in our industry, we just learn to adapt to our burnouts.
We do.
We learn, we survive.
Yeah.
Another question I have, and if you're not comfortable answering, you don't have to, in this burnout process last year, when you were feeling all of these emotions, did it hinder any of your events at all?
Oh, not to
like the point where it's like a disaster and things are going, but did it ever hinder? Any of your events?
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's no way that anyone, I don't care how good you are in this industry or how big your team is or how successful you are. You know, we did 2 huge galas back to back and then within 24 hours drove to Banff and ran a conference for a week. And that was at the end
Not busy
of last year. And I was, again, so proud of how we did that. But there's definitely these little things that, a few times that happened throughout the year where I was like, do you know what? I'm not all in right now. That's it. That's an error or a mistake or a mishap or a, like an oversight on my part that never would have happened in a regular kind of season where I'm rested and present. Because you are like that word survival kicks in. Absolutely. Where it is kind of like, you're just in it and you're rolling with it and you're trying to make the best.
Totally.
So what I found is out of those 18 events, we had 18 very successful events with very minor hiccups. So proud of that.
Yeah.
But where the issues really laid was in my personal life. Like all of a sudden now
you've missed everything.
You're missing out on things. We have 2 young boys. Like, I still, want to maintain a relationship with my husband, with friends, with family. And those are the things that I'm focusing to rebuild now. Yeah. Those are the people you love the most in your life that get the worst of you or the most tired version of you. The ones rooting
for you all. Yeah.
And, I don't ever want my kids to go through another year where they're like, oh yeah, mom has to work. Totally. Or don't worry, mom's going to miss that. She has to work. Like that's devastating. Mm-hmm. But in that moment we knew like everyone in our family was on board. Like this year we just have to get through. Yeah. It'll get better. And I had to keep that promise. I had to keep the promise that it was going to get better.
Yeah. I feel like if it would just been an unbroken promise. Like
definitely.
Yeah. I feel like it's so crazy. I feel like you just answered my last question is how difficult it is to say no now. Yeah. Like, is it difficult or is it easy when you're putting like your personal life first? Like when people are like, can you do this event? And you're like, well, let's navigate this better.
Right.
Do you need me? Let's see what I can do for you. Yeah. Is that a bit hard for you?
It
and keeping busy. Like
it's never going to be easy to say no. I'm never going to have that personality that's going to be okay with feeling like I'm letting somebody down. But what has become easier this year is setting those boundaries where we're capping at this many events. These are the only types of events we're going to execute or take on this year. Mm-hmm. And now that our calendar is full, my body feels more confident in saying no. And I think after 18 years, I've actually earned the right to now say no to things as well, which maybe sounds really arrogant, but that's also a mindset I had to get into was this is where you want to be in the industry. These are the things you specialize in. It's okay to say no to others. Right. And this is where I'm so grateful for so many amazing colleagues and other planners in this industry where we can help each other by, I can now refer like new inquiries or events to others and we have a better team around us. So it makes it a little bit easier. But yes, we have had to say no to so many new clients this year, which breaks my heart. But our goal was not to hire 6 staff and have a big office and do all the things, which sounds amazing and is amazing. It just wasn't the purpose of starting the company. So I have to go back to those initial beginnings as well.
Putting people first. Putting people first. Are a person.
Yes.
So I'm pretty proud of you.
Thank you.
I think I'm really proud of you. I know I'm really proud of you because it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy to take on all of this stuff and it's not easy to give it away.
Well, and to be
honest,
both
are kind of the same feeling of just like,
yes,
if I was putting myself in your shoes, even last year, any little error I made, that would be probably fixable. Your client would never know.
Yeah.
You internalize that, which causes 100%. So much more stress.
Yeah.
Like, cause you're your worst critic. And so I just feel all of this is just so lovely to hear. And I thank you for sharing your story. Cause I don't think we talk about this enough in our industry.
Yeah.
And everyone goes through it. I don't know a planner that hasn't been there.
Oh, 100%. And
that hasn't taken on the world.
I think like it's just a good thing to remember that not that burnout is natural, but when it happens, it's okay. Yeah. And you didn't fail, Totally. And it is fixable and reversible. And honestly, it's been easier to say no to maybe work that doesn't make sense to us or maybe some new clients that have come our way. The hardest part of all of this was saying no to the suppliers, like going back to say your team at Special Event Rentals, going back to our audiovisual production team, going back to the venues. And I was really truthful with all of them at the end of the last year that like we had an amazing year. We had a lot of business together, but next year's going to be different. You cannot rely on me giving you 18 events in your calendar. Please take on other work. And that was really heartbreaking for me is one, we're so proud of how much business and revenue and opportunity and employment we give to so many local businesses. This is an incredible,
industry.
And just an incredible outcome of being able to have my own business. But if I can't guarantee that revenue for those small businesses anymore, that's really heartbreaking. Yeah. And that was really hard to communicate to everyone at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, because you would probably have your relationships lie with all of your suppliers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're pretty close with them, kind of going back to
absolutely,
the brand and what you do on site. And so that would be tough.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I'm sure that they understand. I'm sure that they were not like
As I would understand.
Exactly.
If anyone was to come to me in the same situation.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that story. And I hope that it inspires other people to watch out for burnout. And if it does happen, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Because we're always, I feel like each planner has always or has been through it.
100%.
Oh.
Yeah.
I want to kind of pivot into another topic that I think you're quite passionate about.
Sure.
And it is our event industry and volunteering and being a part of it. And I was kind of sharing right before we went live that for instance, ILEA and MPI.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about both.
Perfect.
Both chapters.
So, absolutely. So we're so fortunate here in Edmonton to have 2 industry chapters, MPI meaning Professionals International, as well as ILEA, which is the International Live Events Association. And both of them I've been involved with, ILEA, especially on the board level. Forever. Yes.
I don't remember a time where you were not on the board.
Thank you. Well, I have taken a break for 2 years, but I put in over 10 years of volunteering for the ILEA board specifically, and in and out of volunteering for different things with MPI. Yeah. Was on the formation committee for ILEA to make sure that we could bring that chapter here to Edmonton. And yes, I can say as a small business owner, if you are listening to this podcast and you are trying to start your own business, whether it be a wedding business, a corporate event planning business, a social event planning, maybe you want to be an entertainer, a supplier, whatever this is, these chapters, like my business would not be here today without the relationships I built from volunteering on these chapters, going to the monthly events, like making an effort to really build connections and trust with others that work in this industry, especially other event professionals, because it is very powerful to understand what your competition does and to become friends with everyone, so that, last year I made so many calls with people who were able to step up and help when I needed them, which was incredible. Yeah. But now to also feel good about referring work to people where it's appropriate for their business model as well is also great.
Totally.
And these chapters need our help.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I feel like what I was sharing before is I used to be so involved in ILEA.
For sure.
I remember when I first moved to Edmonton. Yes. You know what? The glory days are bang on. Yeah. When I first moved here and I started at SER, I feel like ILEA played a huge part in my success and my relationships in this industry. Yeah. And I've fallen off that wagon, Caitlin. And I don't know if it's just because everyone's busy or that burnout talk about burnout, or events getting bigger, or, people just wanting more or moving on.
For sure.
But how do we get those glory days back? Because those glory days were great.
Oh, they were fabulous.
You have Alex, like everyone, Jennifer Bergman, like everyone was there.
Yeah.
Janine from Fabulosity, like everyone wanted to be there. Yeah. They wanted to connect. And then I feel like after that, it kind of got a bit rocky, a little bit.
For sure. So many things have happened. I mean, not to keep coming back to like the pandemic, but we had a pandemic.
We did. And ILEA went strong throughout it. I remember going on virtual meetings, but
so many virtual meetings. So, it's so interesting because, we talk about the glory days where there just seemed to be this time between like 2010 and 2019, for whatever reason, where industry was really engaged. We also had a lot of like new people wanting to be engaged, volunteering, starting out their careers, really understanding that how important that networking piece is. And it's not to say that the chapters are doing a bad job. They're not, but they're now in survival mode. And if our industry doesn't step up to support the chapters, to just start by volunteering, right? We can't host monthly events if we don't have volunteers on the board to even put them on. Yeah. And we have to start there because I think what people aren't realizing, and I'm seeing this with my corporate clients as well, is, back in the day, because we're that old now.
We are.
Now. I can say things like back in the day.
We're not that old.
There would have been a culture of after work networking. There would have been a culture of you're done work at a certain time and you head to the local pub or restaurant or whatever, and you networked. I know my father did that for years, like after work. It was just like normal. But so much has changed now where, you might have a household, maybe you have children, but their sports start at 4.
Right.
And so now parents are rushing home to take kids somewhere by 4 o'clock, not staying after work. Maybe they're not even at the office at all. And I think the more of the work from home there is, the more important these chapters are, the more important that networking is. And so I can't encourage people enough to just, I know it seems like no one has time. I get it. I'm there with you.
Totally.
And we don't want people to take on more than they can handle. But the boards now need our help. They need industry members to step up, give just even a little bit of time. Just start to engage again and start to bring some of this passion that we all have for this industry back to the chapters. And to remember what it was like when we would all get together for in-person board meetings and come up with great concepts like the venue crawl or, whatever some of these cool, like what's your lemon events that we used to do, that just brought people together.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to bring those back.
Totally. And I feel like when I look back at ILEA, without them, not that I would be nothing, but they helped me make connections all over Edmonton.
100%.
It also helped me learn catering businesses. I remember the venue crawl. You just brought that up. And I think there was a limo and we stopped at different caterers and we all went in and they took us around. We sampled food. So not only are we networking, we're building relationships, but we're also engaging with our suppliers or event planners. So I feel like what they stand for is great. We just need to kind of help them out to get back there.
Yeah.
And I hope people that have the same experience that I did, where ILEA did kind of help me with my career.
Yeah.
They kind of see that in someone else. Because I think a lot of new people are joining ILEA with new businesses and new planners and all of that. And so who's there to support them? Where are our staples?
Yeah.
Besides you, how are we? Yeah, I want to get back there. So I feel like it's a great topic and I hope everyone kind of sees the need for it.
Yeah. Well,
because we rely on each other.
The harsh reality is in a city that focuses on events as much as Edmonton does. My gosh, we're the only city in Canada that made Lonely Planet's best place to travel. And the number one reason is our festivals.
Did you hear that?
And our events.
Edmonton, Alberta.
Yes, Edmonton, Alberta, the only one in North. We are also top 5 for places in the UK to travel to this summer. Again, because Edmonton is focused on festivals, focused on events, River Valley, all of these things, markets.
It's crazy. Do you think conferences are picking up? I find, I don't know what's happening with Edmonton, but everyone's coming here for a conference. Yes. Is it the direct flights? Is it we're less expensive? Like what? Why are people coming here? I mean, come, we'll show you a great time
100%.
And you have a great team, whatever event you have. But I feel like Edmonton is just like booming with these conferences and these wild events.
100%. I wish I could say it was because of our airport. I mean, the direct flights help, but our airport's still far away. But I do have to commend Explore Edmonton and their team for really pushing how incredible our city is internationally. They do such an amazing job there. And one of the things that Edmonton stands out for is, one, we're still affordable. So if you're coming to Canada and you can't afford Toronto, Montreal, or Vancouver, like Edmonton is an incredible option. So there's affordability. There's our River Valley, that nature in the middle of downtown attracts international people because they all come from concrete jungles. And
Calgary.
Although I would argue we live in a concrete jungle, our River Valley is exceptional. And it really is something that attracts people here. And then our Indigenous tourism is incredible and is so unique. And again, Explore Edmonton has done a fabulous job of really building this up and showcasing it with our restaurants and some of the activations that we can do and that culture that we can highlight. Yeah.
So when did Explore Edmonton start this?
That's a good question. They're probably wondering why I'm speaking about them without permission. But
I'm going to be reaching out next to Explore Edmonton. You're next on their podcast.
I'm not sure, but they have really been building up a really strong team and really pushing it. Like Edmonton needs.
Well,
needs cheerleaders.
Totally.
We're not like Vancouver. You don't just have the glass city on the ocean that sells itself. We need cheerleaders to really promote why you should come here. And once you're here, people don't want to leave.
No.
And they're like, whoa, and the city's amazing.
I just like, I've had a couple experiences in the last like 6 months where these big conferences are coming and they're wanting full-blown decor consultations and like
absolutely
all of these things. So and good. I jump on calls with them and we create and we curate this event. And twice now we were never excited about Edmonton.
100%.
We were like, oh, we have to go to Edmonton, Alberta. Like, wah, wah.
Yeah.
And she's like, I kid you not, just from vendors and their suppliers have made this process easy peasy, like they've never seen in Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary.
Yeah.
Is that are we like service based? Like, are we just wanting to like, I don't know, but I've gotten that in the last little bit and I just feel like it warms my heart.
Yes.
And then I have another question. You might not know this, but there's a conference at the ECC, and does Explore Edmonton just jump on conferences and connect with them? Or like do you know any of that?
Well,
how that would work?
For any international conference, it's most likely been brought in from their team connecting with someone at a trade show internationally or promoting the city, which is fabulous and work that is so important. But yeah, absolutely. Like they have so many resources for conference clients or any event really that you can call and tap into, of course.
I'm kind of just learning all about that because of all these conferences. I feel like it's a new little learning curve for Caitlin and SER and Carolyn, just navigating these massive orders and the logistics with planners and AV and like who's stepping on who's and the clients too. Like they're so busy. You don't really, they don't really help you out. Like you kind of are just fending for yourself a little bit. They've instilled like, the utmost confidence in you and you just kind of have to roll with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big job to do all the time, Caitlin.
100%. Good for you guys. No, it's so good for the city. And I not only work downtown, I live downtown, and to see that vibrancy come back to the core is wonderful as well. And we want to be able to put our best foot forward for all of the tourism coming in.
Yeah. I think it's a big deal.
Great. It's really great.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm excited for this summer. I don't think SER is taking a backseat to anything. We're probably going full tilt. Burnouts everywhere. No. But I guess the hardest part of that is everything for at least this side happens in like 4 months.
Of course.
Summer.
Yeah. Of course.
And then I go back to like what you were saying about families and like everything for them happens especially in Alberta in the summer. So yeah, I feel like what a great chat. I am just like inspired and I'm feeling great and I'm learning, and I love podcasts like this where I can like digest things and talk things out and ask questions, but also just gain some knowledge. Do you ever like are on site when people say something, you're just like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Totally.
I never thought of it that way. 100%. And it's so simple and silly. I feel like I've had a couple of those moments today here with you.
Amazing. So, well, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Come back anytime. You're so elegant in speaking and captivating.
That's amazing. Thank you.
I hope this episode just like cheers people up. They learn and they kind of just explore what is in store for them going forward, or maybe reevaluate if they're kind of feeling anything that we kind of talked about today.
Absolutely. No, we have to stick together. We've got a big job to do to keep top of mind internationally. And it's going to take all of us working together. So come out to the chapters, support the chapters, lean on each other.
Yeah. Well, let's get those glory days back. I feel like everyone knows who was in those glory days. So maybe we kind of just need to make that effort as that core group to kind of support ILEA and MPI. I kind of have a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
I want to know what's in store other than you personally. What is there anything in store for CM events going forward, or what is your dream for CM events going down?
That's a really great question. We are super proud of the clients we're working with this year. So really grateful to be working on some really beautiful signature events in this city. That makes me really proud. personally would love to start to bring back that education piece for our industry. Was of course one of the instructors and course content creators at NATE when we had the event management program years ago before the pandemic.
I remember that.
And it was such an incredible way to feel like I was giving back, sharing knowledge with those that were interested in starting in the industry, which is incredible. And I love seeing those students out in the industry working, doing great things, like evolving, doing doing their own thing. And I think as we all start to age, one of the things that's top of mind for me is that succession in our industry.
Yeah.
Without a whole bunch of, 18 to 30-year-olds being like, I can't wait to be in the events industry, we're in big trouble. And I really would love to ride out the rest of my career, however that looks, making sure that we build a post-secondary program that's made for our industry. So I don't know what that looks like yet, but that is in the back of my mind that
That's
we're
what you
starting
want
to work with different people at SAIT and here locally. So we'll see what evolves, but that's the goal.
Well, we'll stay tuned.
Yeah.
We'll stay tuned. And before we conclude, I always ask a fun question. When I say always, I've only done this once. I want to know what you order from Starbucks.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
And are you a Starbucks lover, first off? Or is there a different coffee shop?
Well, so again,
You're downtown.
We're downtown. There's no Starbucks. There's
so we don't.
7 Starbucks closed during the pandemic and they never came back. 7. I counted. 7.
Downtown, all closed.
Just downtown. So I feel very privileged in that we have all of these local coffee shops now. And so I'm a big coffee shop person. And my go-to drink is a oat milk chai latte. Yeah.
So all of CM's suppliers, next time, that is what she likes. So bring it on down.
That's right.
What is your favorite coffee shop right now? Or where is your
Oh, do you know what? So many. I have 5 on rotation right now, but I have to say Objects, if you haven't checked it out, downtown.
Objects.
Jasper and 104.
A cool space?
Very cool space. Historical building. Probably the biggest skylight I've ever seen. So just beautiful natural light and delicious treats. Gifts. Yeah, it's my favorite.
This is really off topic, but Ryerson, our filmer over here, his parents own a coffee shop. They sell coffee.
Fabulous.
Yeah. And so you have to check out Objects downtown, Ryerson. Anyways, you should look at his Instagram or
I will.
The coffee shop Instagram page. It's pretty freaking cool.
Okay. I love it.
Anyways, thank you so much, Caitlin.
Thank you.
For a great episode.
The Caitlin and Caitlin show.
We never even addressed that. We're both Caitlins. Caitlin with a K, Caitlin with a C.
That's right.
And it's always funny when she does call in and it's like, hi, Caitlin. Hi, Caitlin. How are you, Caitlin? Anyways.
It's the best.
Anyways, that concludes our episode and stay tuned for the next.